Some say the measure of true power lies not in how it's gained, but in how it's controlled. In the history of the Jedi Order, no one embodied this principle more than Mace Windu, a name that would become legendary across the galaxy. Yet before he was the Order's champion, before he wielded his iconic purple blade, he was simply a child from a distant world, destined for something greater than himself. The year was 72 before the Battle of Yavin, on the dense jungle world of Harun Kal. Like most children born on this remote planet, the infant Mace Windu received an inoculation that left a small scar, a mark he would carry throughout his life. But he carried something else too, something far less visible yet infinitely more significant, an extraordinary connection to the Force. This connection would change the course of his life forever. The Jedi Order, sensing his remarkable potential, brought the toddler to the Grand Jedi Temple on Coruscant. The towering spires and ancient halls of this magnificent structure would become his home, the Jedi his family, and the Force his constant companion. From his earliest days in the temple, young Mace displayed a seriousness that set him apart from his peers. While other younglings found amusement in Grandmaster Yoda's playful teaching methods, Mace never quite appreciated the ancient master's sense of humor. Yet, despite this, or perhaps because of it, Yoda took a special interest in the solemn child from Harun Kal. The path of a Jedi is never easy, and Mace's journey was no exception. As a youngling, he faced the same challenges all future Jedi must confront, learning to let go of attachments, mastering basic Force techniques, and understanding the profound responsibility that came with their powers. But Mace approached these challenges with an intensity that both impressed and concerned his teachers. "Let go," Yoda would often tell him. "Trust in the Force." These words would become a cornerstone of Mace's development, though the young initiate struggled to fully embrace their meaning. His natural intensity often clashed with the Jedi's teachings of serenity and patience. Where others saw shades of gray, Mace Windu saw absolutes, a trait that would both serve and challenge him throughout his life. These early years shaped not just his abilities, but his character. Each lesson, each challenge, each moment of frustration or triumph helped forge the foundation of who he would become. His teachers noted his exceptional focus, his unwavering dedication, and most notably his unusually strong connection to the Force. Yet they also observed something else, a complexity within him, an intensity that would need to be carefully guided. Perhaps most telling was his response to his first true test, the construction of his lightsaber. Every Jedi youngling must face this crucial milestone, but Mace's experience proved unique. After obtaining a rare amethyst-colored kyber crystal, he initially struggled, his attempts at construction repeatedly failing. The young initiate's frustration mounted until Professor Huyang, the ancient droid instructor who had guided countless Jedi before him, offered a profound insight. The secret is that the pieces never needed to be built. This lesson marked a turning point in Mace's development. It wasn't about forcing the pieces together, but understanding that they were already whole. This philosophy would later influence his approach to everything from lightsaber combat to his interpretation of the Force itself. As Mace grew, so did his reputation within the temple. His fellow younglings often found him intimidating, not because he was unkind, but because of his intense focus and unwavering dedication to the Jedi way. While others might bend rules or seek shortcuts, Mace remained steadfast in his adherence to the Order's traditions and teachings. Yet beneath this rigid exterior lay something few recognized, a deep, almost burning desire to understand, not just the Force or the Jedi teachings, but the very nature of right and wrong, good and evil. This philosophical curiosity, combined with his natural intensity, would eventually lead him to insights and abilities few Jedi had ever achieved. These formative years at the temple laid the groundwork for everything Mace Windu would become: the stern council member, the legendary warrior, the champion of the Jedi Order. But they also revealed the internal struggles he would grapple with throughout his life. The challenge of balancing power with wisdom, strength with compassion, and personal conviction with the greater good. In these early days, no one could have predicted the pivotal role this serious young initiate would play in the fate of the galaxy. The purple blade that would become his signature was still years away. The Clone Wars, the fall of the Republic, and his legendary confrontation with darkness itself were all yet to come. But the foundation was being built day by day, lesson by lesson, in the halls of the Jedi Temple. The journey from Jedi youngling to Padawan learner marks one of the most challenging transitions in a Jedi's life. For Mace Windu, this period would prove transformative, shaping not only his abilities, but the very essence of his character. Central to this transformation was his relationship with Jedi Master Tra, whose influence would leave an indelible mark on the young initiate. Under her guidance, Windu found himself pushed to limits he never knew existed. Their sparring sessions became legendary within the temple, not just for their intensity, but for what they revealed about the young Jedi's potential. Then came a moment that would echo throughout Windu's life: his first victory against an instructor. During a particularly grueling training session, something clicked. The Force flowed through him with unprecedented clarity, and for the first time, he bested Master Sa in combat. The victory surprised even the seasoned instructor, who responded not with disappointment, but with respect, recognizing the achievement as a significant milestone in Windu's development. But combat training represented only one facet of his growth. The Force manifested in Windu in unique and powerful ways. He quickly mastered fundamental abilities that many younglings struggled with for years. From telekinesis to Force-enhanced reflexes, his progress astounded his teachers. Yet it wasn't raw power that set him apart, but rather his methodical approach to understanding and controlling these abilities. Among his fellow younglings, Windu cut an imposing figure. While others his age might spend their free time in playful pursuits, he could often be found in deep meditation or practicing lightsaber forms long after training sessions had ended. This dedication earned him respect, but it also created a certain distance between him and his peers. These years also saw Windu developing his own understanding of the Force. Where some saw it as a tool to be used, he began to view it as something far more profound, a guide to truth itself. This philosophical awakening coincided with his growing ability to perceive shatter points, crucial moments where the Force revealed possible turning points in the flow of events. The construction of his first lightsaber proved particularly telling. While most younglings approached the task with excitement, Windu treated it with almost ritualistic reverence. His amethyst kyber crystal, rare even by Jedi standards, seemed to respond to his touch in unique ways. The process taught him patience, precision, and most importantly, the value of persistence in the face of failure. Training under Tarasa took on an almost spiritual dimension. She recognized in Windu not just technical proficiency, but a deeper connection to the ancient traditions of the Order. Their sparring sessions became more than simple combat practice. They evolved into moving meditations, each exchange of blows a conversation in the language of the Force. As his skills grew, so did his understanding of the Jedi Code. While other younglings might question or challenge these ancient precepts, Windu embraced them with conviction. He saw in these teachings not restrictions, but guidelines for channeling the immense power he felt growing within himself. Yet, beneath his stoic exterior and rigid adherence to tradition, Windu grappled with internal challenges. The same intensity that drove his rapid progress also threatened to consume him. Learning to temper this fire without extinguishing it became one of his greatest challenges, one that would eventually lead to his development of entirely new approaches to channeling the Force. His relationships with fellow younglings revealed another layer of his character. Though not particularly social, Windu proved himself a natural leader. Others looked to him not because he sought their attention, but because his unwavering dedication to the Jedi path inspired them. When he spoke, others listened, even if they didn't always agree with his strict interpretations of Jedi doctrine. The Force moved through Windu in increasingly powerful ways during this period. He began to sense not just the present moment, but echoes of possible futures. These glimpses, though sometimes unsettling, strengthened his resolve to master every aspect of his training. Each new ability, each small victory, served as a stepping stone toward his ultimate goal, becoming a Jedi Knight worthy of the Order's highest ideals. As his time as a youngling drew to a close, the temple buzzed with speculation about which master would choose him as a Padawan. His achievements had not gone unnoticed, and many saw in him the potential for greatness. Yet Windu remained focused not on his future status, but on the daily work of perfecting his skills and understanding of the Force. The transition from youngling to Padawan learner represents more than a change in title. It marks the beginning of a more focused, individualized path in a Jedi's journey. For Mace Windu, it would open doors to new challenges, new understanding, and the first real tests of his developing philosophy. The serious youngling from Harun Kal was about to take his first steps into a larger world, one that would eventually lead him to become one of the greatest Jedi the Order had ever known. Every Jedi's path to knighthood brings unique challenges, but for Mace Windu, this journey would prove particularly significant under the guidance of Jedi Master Sislin Mir. Their partnership, formed during Windu's Padawan years, would face its greatest test on a mission that revealed both Windu's strengths and his struggles with the very nature of justice itself. "A fire burns inside you, Padawan," Mia told her apprentice. "That in itself is not inherently wrong. It is my job to help you temper it. This is why I chose you to accompany me on this mission. I do so enjoy a challenge." These words would prove prophetic as master and apprentice embarked on a crucial assignment to the planet Mathas in 60 BBY. The situation on Mathas was dire. The local population suffered from the devastating effects of the Niffin plague, creating perfect conditions for exploitation. A man named Druz had seized this opportunity, taking residence in a Jedi outreach temple and convincing the people he was a Jedi prophet who could heal the sick and dying in return for their faith and servitude. Upon receiving reports of Druz's activities, the Jedi Order dispatched Mir and Windu to assess and apprehend him. As they made their way to the temple, Windu observed the suffering of the people and contemplated what the Jedi could do to help. The sight of Druz using Jedi teachings to prey on others frustrated the young Padawan deeply. requiring Mir's guidance to help him suppress his hostile feelings. Inside the temple, they found Druze surrounded by Force worshippers, including a mother desperately seeking healing for her dying child. When confronted by the Jedi, Druze's followers created enough chaos for him to attempt escape. Windu pursued, successfully defeating the false prophet's Gamorrean bodyguards despite suffering an injury to his left arm from Druze's blaster. In the crucial moment of confrontation, Windu's anger surfaced as he faced down the unarmed man. "You would twist such a beautiful thing as faith into something so vile," he declared. "Wring out what measly credits and adoration you could from these poor people, all while besmirching the esteem of the Jedi Order." With the Force holding Druze immobile, Windu raised his lightsaber, vowing that the false prophet would never hurt another soul. It was here that Master Mir's intervention proved crucial. Though she understood her apprentice's frustrations, she reminded him that Druze's punishment should be decided in a court of law, not by a single Jedi's judgment. This moment would become a defining one in Windu's development, teaching him the vital difference between justice and vengeance. The experience on Mathas crystallized something important in Windu's understanding of the Jedi path. Faith, as he had told Druze, was something beautiful, and its perversion by those seeking personal gain warranted action. Yet that action needed to be guided by wisdom rather than emotion, a lesson that would stay with him throughout his life. This period marked a crucial phase in Windu's growth in the Force. His natural intensity, when properly directed, proved to be a source of strength rather than weakness. Under Mir's guidance, he learned to channel his strong feelings about justice and tradition into a positive force, though this would remain an ongoing challenge. The mission to Mathas also revealed Windu's growing ability to sense the suffering of others and his deep commitment to protecting the innocent. His frustration at seeing people exploited in their hour of need spoke to his developing philosophy about the role of the Jedi in the galaxy. The experience helped shape his understanding that being a Jedi meant more than just following rules. It meant standing as a guardian of justice and protector of the vulnerable. These formative experiences under Master Mir's tutelage would influence not just Windu's path to knighthood, but his entire approach to being a Jedi. The lessons learned about tempering justice with wisdom and power with restraint would serve him well in the challenges that lay ahead, as he continued his journey toward becoming one of the most significant Jedi of his era. After achieving the rank of Jedi Knight, Mace Windu embarked on a series of missions that would establish his reputation as one of the Order's most capable members. His assignments during this period tested not just his combat abilities, but his skill as an investigator and his wisdom as a Jedi. One of his most notable early missions centered on the investigation of Mattis Koto, the warden of the Devshi prison complex. The Jedi Council had received troubling reports about Koto's involvement in the illegal trade of skeleton keys, a suspicion that arose after convicts were apprehended in Kevin 8. One of these prisoners claimed to have received a skeleton key directly from Koto himself. Windu's approach to this investigation showcased his versatility as a Jedi. He successfully infiltrated the prison complex disguised as a guard, a task that required both stealth and careful planning. After gathering the necessary evidence, he not only apprehended Mattis, but managed to escape from the facility despite its formidable security measures. But the mission wasn't over. Windu tracked a group of droids programmed to deliver skeleton keys to off-planet clients. Using his growing mastery of the Force, he employed a mind trick to gain the assistance of a skiff pilot. Together, they successfully disabled the droids and recovered the stolen skeleton keys, bringing the entire operation to an end. Following his success with the Koto case, Windu returned to the Jedi Temple to report to Master Yoda. However, there would be no rest for the skilled knight. Yoda and fellow Jedi Gara immediately assigned him another critical mission: the recovery of the Coxium Ultra formula from a smuggler named Azita Cruz. The case proved complex. Azita had offered the formula to both the Jedi Order and various criminal organizations in exchange for Republic credits and safe passage from Romira. The formula itself posed a significant threat if it fell into the wrong hands, as Coxium Ultra could boost sublight engines by 120% without negative consequences. During this mission, Windu's path crossed with Azita's in an unexpected way. As they attempted to escape off-world together, she questioned him about his path as a Jedi, asking if he had willingly chosen this life. His response revealed much about his character. While he hadn't consciously volunteered for this path, he explained that he didn't dwell on alternative lives he might have led, considering such thoughts both futile and potentially dangerous. Instead, he remained convinced that his current path was where he was meant to be. It was during these years that Windu developed something that would change the very nature of lightsaber combat: Vapad, the seventh form of lightsaber fighting. This achievement marked him as not just a warrior, but an innovator. What made Vapad unique was its underlying philosophy. Windu created it as a way to channel darkness into light, recognizing that an internal darkness existed within himself that needed to be controlled rather than suppressed. Vapad became more than just a fighting style. It was a state of mind. The technique allowed Windu to accept the thrill of battle without giving in to aggression or anger. This innovation spoke to his deep understanding of both the Force and his own nature. By creating a way to transmute darkness into light, he demonstrated the grasp of the balance required to be a true Jedi. During this period, Windu also served under the guidance of Master Yoda, further refining his understanding of the Force and his role within the Order. His assignments grew increasingly complex, requiring him to utilize all of his skills. Beyond just combat and Force abilities, he proved himself adept at slicing, starfighter piloting, and facility infiltration. His versatility extended even further. Through his training, he became fluent in Rhodese and learned to perform Rhodian theater works by Harido Kavila, taught by Alxa Crace. These seemingly peripheral skills would prove valuable in missions requiring him to adopt convincing disguises, even fooling fellow Jedi when necessary. Yet, perhaps most significantly, this period saw Windu developing his identity as a Jedi. His approach to the Force became more nuanced, moving beyond simple dualities of light and dark. Through Vapad, he demonstrated that the path of a Jedi wasn't about avoiding darkness, but about transforming it into something beneficial. His accomplishments during this period earned him increasing recognition within the Order. His methods, while sometimes unconventional, consistently proved effective. Whether tracking down criminals, recovering stolen artifacts, or navigating complex diplomatic situations, Windu demonstrated a level of competence that marked him as someone destined for greater responsibility. Each mission, each challenge, added another layer to his growing reputation. His dedication to the Jedi way, combined with his innovative approach to problems, set him apart. Yet he never sought acclaim for its own sake. Every achievement, every innovation served a single purpose: advancing the cause of justice and maintaining balance in the galaxy. These years as a knight laid the groundwork for his future role as a leader within the Order. Through his creation of Varpad, his successful completion of increasingly challenging missions, and his deepening understanding of the Force, Mace Windu was becoming the Jedi who would eventually be known as the Order's champion. Elevation to the Jedi High Council represents one of the greatest honors in a Jedi's life. For Mace Windu, this distinction came through circumstances that tested not just his abilities, but his friendship with a fellow Jedi who would eventually walk a very different path, Count Dooku. The catalyst for Windu's appointment arose from a mission to Raxus Secundus, where Jedi Master Katri had been killed. The Council assigned Windu and Dooku to retrieve Katri's remains. While Windu insisted on adhering strictly to their mandate, Dooku sought to conduct his own investigation into the death, unconvinced by Senator Larrick's account of an ambush. Their contrasting approaches revealed much about both men. Dooku considered Windu's devotion to Jedi protocol both inspiring and maddening. When Dooku pushed to investigate beyond their orders, Windu reminded him that neither held council membership and therefore lacked authority to interfere in political conflicts without approval from the council or Senate. Events on Raxus quickly spiraled into complexity. Through their investigation, they discovered Katri had been betrayed by Larrick's own security forces. The revelation led to a violent confrontation, where Windu and Dooku fought together against the corrupt officers. In the chaos, Senator Larrick was killed, and the truth about Katri's murder emerged. She had been eliminated to prevent her from discovering political corruption. Upon their return to Coruscant, Windu learned he would be offered Katri's vacant seat on the High Council. Dooku, suspicious of the timing, questioned whether Windu had known about this appointment before their mission. Windu maintained his surprise at the elevation, reminding Dooku that while they had received the same orders, it was Dooku's decisions that led to a senator's death. As a council member, Windu quickly established himself as a guardian of Jedi traditions during a period of growing galactic unrest and political corruption. His appointment occurred between 50 BBY and 42 BBY, marking the beginning of an era where his influence would shape the Order's response to increasing challenges. The Naboo crisis presented one of the first major tests of Windu's council leadership. When Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi returned from their failed mission to negotiate with the Trade Federation, they brought troubling news. The ancient enemies of the Jedi, the Sith, might have returned. While Windu initially expressed skepticism about this claim, he assured them the Order would employ its full resources to verify the truth. However, it was Jinn's other discovery that would have far-reaching consequences. On Tatooine, he had encountered a young slave named Anakin Skywalker, whose connection to the Force was unprecedented. Jinn believed Anakin might be the prophesied chosen one, destined to bring balance to the Force. Windu's first meeting with young Skywalker proved pivotal. Despite the boy's extraordinary midi-chlorian count, Windu harbored serious reservations. He perceived that Skywalker's emotional attachments, particularly to his mother, made him unsuitable for Jedi training. The Council initially rejected Jinn's request to train Anakin, with Windu specifically noting the boy's age as problematic. During this period, Windu often conferred with Yoda about disturbances they sensed in the Force. Hours after one council meeting, Windu found Yoda alone in a small garden, contemplating what the Grand Master described as the presence of nothing rather than something. This philosophical exchange highlighted their different approaches to understanding the Force, though Windu ultimately trusted in Yoda's judgment. The mission to Ontotho further demonstrated Windu's growing role in shaping the Order's future. Called to evaluate Padawan Kere Yunda's actions during a dispute between Dupe monks and Trandoshans, Windu showed his diplomatic skill in handling a complex situation. While acknowledging that rash actions could sometimes yield positive results, he emphasized the Council's commitment to measured methods. When conflict escalated on Ontotho between the Da Corporation and the Fliari, Windu personally intervened alongside Masters Luminara, Maslow Scaf, and Odu. Their efforts exposed corporate corruption and facilitated a new joint government. Recognizing Yunda's heroic actions during this crisis, Windu himself performed her knighting ceremony. Throughout these years, Windu's political awareness grew sharper. He observed with increasing concern how corruption spread through the Republic's institutions. While he maintained the Jedi's role as servants of the Republic, he grew uncomfortable with the relationship between the Order and the Senate. His suspicion of political figures and their motives would prove prescient in the years to come. After Qui-Gon Jinn's death during the Battle of Naboo, the Council reversed its decision about Anakin Skywalker, allowing Obi-Wan Kenobi to train him. Yet Windu's doubts persisted. His reservations about Skywalker's ability to fully commit to the Jedi way created an underlying tension that would influence their relationship for years to come. The conclusion of the Naboo crisis brought more questions than answers. During Jinn's funeral, Windu and Yoda confronted a troubling reality. The Sith had indeed survived the last millennium. Yoda quoted the Rule of Two, an ancient Sith philosophy limiting their numbers to a master and apprentice. This led Windu to ponder which had been defeated by Kenobi, master or apprentice, a question whose answer would have grave implications for the future. The galaxy changes in ways both subtle and complex, but few moments match the seismic shift that occurred with the discovery of a secret army on Kamino. When Obi-Wan Kenobi's investigation led him to this mysterious world, the revelation shook the foundations of the Jedi Order. Hundreds of thousands of clone troopers stood ready for battle, with 1 million more in development, all allegedly commissioned by a deceased Jedi Master named Sifo Dyas. The news reached Mace Windu and Master Yoda in Chancellor Palpatine's office, where they witnessed Kenobi's transmission from Geonosis. The situation had grown dire. Count Dooku and the Separatist Council had assembled a massive droid army, and Kenobi's capture confirmed their worst fears. War was inevitable. When the Senate granted Chancellor Palpatine emergency powers, Windu took action. While Yoda departed for Kamino to take command of the clone army, Windu led a strike team of Jedi to Geonosis. Their mission: rescue Kenobi, along with Anakin Skywalker and Senator Padme Amidala, who had attempted their own rescue operation. The Battle of Geonosis marked the first time in 1,000 years that the Jedi fought as warriors rather than peacekeepers. In the Geonosian arena, Windu confronted the bounty hunter Jango Fett, whose skills proved no match for the Jedi Master's blade work. With one precise strike, Windu ended the legendary warrior's life, an action witnessed by Fett's young clone son, Boba. Though the Jedi fought bravely, they found themselves overwhelmed by battle droids until Master Yoda arrived with the clone army, turning the tide of battle. Under Windu's leadership, Clone Commander Pons and 5 special commando units charged into the heart of the conflict. The Republic claimed victory that day, but at a terrible cost. Many Jedi fell in battle, and Dooku escaped, leaving Windu to confront an uncomfortable truth. His old friend had truly embraced the dark side. The transition from peacekeepers to generals challenged everything the Jedi believed about themselves. Windu, who had always championed Jedi traditions, now found himself adapting to a military role. Yet even in these early days of war, his commitment to Jedi principles remained unshaken. When the Council assigned him a covert mission to Hisrich, he faced this new reality head-on. Unable to provide clone support due to stretched resources, Windu assembled a team of Jedi for the Hisrich operation. Kit Fisto for his combat expertise, Prosit Dibs for his force intuition, and Risa Mano for her engineering prowess. Before departing, Windu confided his doubts to Master Yoda, troubled by the loss of so many Jedi on Geonosis. The ancient master reminded him that the Force would guide them down the correct path. The mission to Hisrich tested not just Windu's tactical abilities, but his leadership philosophy. When Prosit Dibs questioned the Jedi's role in the war, Windu responded with conviction. "We are knights, and this is exactly what we are supposed to be doing." His team discovered that the Separatists, led by the mercenary droid ADW-4, were mining the planet's unique energy resources. Even as Windu led his fellow Jedi in combat, he never lost sight of their true purpose. When indigenous people were threatened, he prioritized their protection over military objectives. His approach to leadership balanced military necessity with Jedi principles, earning the respect of both his clone commanders and fellow Jedi. The relationship between Windu and his clone officers, particularly Commander Pons, evolved through shared experience in battle. While maintaining professional distance, Windu demonstrated genuine concern for his troops' welfare. During the war's early campaigns, he often used the Force to save clone troopers from certain death, recognizing each life as valuable. As the conflict spread, Windu developed strategies that maximized the effectiveness of both Jedi and clone forces. He took command of the 187th Battalion and the elite 187th Legion, leading from the front while utilizing his troops' specialized training. His battlefield presence became legendary, with clone troopers drawing inspiration from his unwavering courage and tactical acumen. Yet the war's early phase also brought interesting challenges to Windu's understanding of the Jedi path. The Order's new role as military commanders meant confronting questions about the nature of justice and necessity. When faced with decisions that balanced military objectives against Jedi principles, Windu consistently sought ways to achieve both. Throughout these early campaigns, Windu demonstrated why he had earned his reputation as the Order's champion. His leadership style combined tactical brilliance with unwavering principle. Whether commanding large-scale battles or leading small covert operations, he never lost sight of the Jedi's true purpose, maintaining peace and justice in the galaxy. The clone armies under his command became extensions of this philosophy. He trained them not just as soldiers, but as partners in the preservation of peace. This approach would prove crucial as the war expanded, testing both the Republic's resolve and the Jedi's ability to maintain their principles in the face of escalating conflict. As the Clone Wars intensified, Mace Windu found himself at the center of several crucial campaigns and crises that would test both his military prowess and his judgment as a Jedi. One of his most significant operations unfolded on the Twi'lek homeworld of Ryloth, where the Separatist leader, Wat Tambor, had established a brutal occupation. The liberation of Ryloth required careful planning and coordination. After Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano broke through the Separatist blockade, Windu and Obi-Wan Kenobi began their ground assault. The situation grew complex when Windu realized that taking the capital city of Lesu would require assistance from local freedom fighters led by Cham Syndulla. Though Syndulla initially distrusted the Republic, fearing they would simply replace one oppressor with another, Windu proved himself a skilled negotiator. He brokered a crucial agreement between Syndulla and Senator Ornfried Tar, ensuring the clone army would withdraw after liberation, while Syndulla promised not to seize political power. The resulting alliance led to a decisive victory, with Windu personally capturing Wat Tambor and preventing the Separatists from bombing the capital into submission. The victory on Ryloth showcased Windu's abilities not just as a warrior, but as a diplomat. The Twi'leks commemorated the battle in song, naming the assault on Lesu the Hammer of Ryloth. During this campaign, Windu also demonstrated his compassion, saving a young Twi'lek named Nisha Tor from certain death. These actions earned him lasting respect among the Twi'lek people. Following the Ryloth campaign, Windu confronted a unique situation on Malastare. The Republic's experimental electroproton bomb, designed to disable the Separatist droid army, had an unexpected consequence. It awakened an ancient creature known as the Zillo Beast. When the Malastarian leadership demanded the creature's death, Windu stood firmly against its destruction, believing it might be the last of its kind. His opposition to killing the Zillo Beast put him at odds with both the Malastarians and Chancellor Palpatine. When the beast was ultimately subdued rather than killed, Palpatine ordered it transported to Coruscant for research. Windu voiced strong objections, warning that bringing such a dangerous creature to the capital was a grave mistake. His concerns proved prophetic when the beast escaped, forcing the Jedi to destroy it to save countless lives. The war's middle period also brought personal challenges. Boba Fett, seeking revenge for his father's death at Windu's hands on Geonosis, orchestrated an elaborate assassination attempt. The young clone destroyed the Venator-class Star Destroyer Endurance in his effort to kill Windu. Despite surviving this attempt on his life, Windu showed remarkable restraint in dealing with Fett. Rather than seeking retribution, he focused on protecting the hostages Fett and his bounty hunter allies had taken. Perhaps the most challenging test of Windu's judgment came with the bombing of the Jedi Temple. When an explosion rocked the temple hangar, killing 6 Jedi Knights, Windu and Yoda assigned Skywalker and Tano to lead the internal investigation. The situation grew more complex when Tano herself fell under suspicion for the murder of the bombing suspect, Letta Termund. As evidence mounted against Tano, Windu found himself in an impossible position. Admiral Tarkin demanded that the Padawan be expelled from the Order and turned over to military custody. Though troubled by the choice, Windu agreed with Tarkin's position, believing that refusing to comply would be seen as an act of opposition to the Senate. In the Chamber of Judgment, Windu delivered the Council's verdict. Tano would be expelled from the Jedi Order. The decision weighed heavily on him, but he believed it necessary to maintain the relationship between the Jedi and the Republic. When Skywalker later revealed that Barriss Offee was the true culprit, Windu joined his fellow council members in offering Tano reinstatement with a promotion to Jedi Knight. The council acknowledged that Tano's ordeal had made her a greater Jedi, with Windu himself expressing this view. However, their contrition came too late. Tano's trust in the Order had been shattered, and she chose to walk away. Her departure served as a sobering reminder that even decisions made with the best intentions could have profound and irreversible consequences. These events revealed the complex challenges the Jedi faced as both peacekeepers and military leaders. Each crisis forced them to balance their principles against political necessity, their traditions against the demands of war. For Windu, who had always been a staunch traditionalist, these situations required careful navigation between maintaining Jedi values and adapting to the reality of their new role in the galaxy. Throughout this period, Windu's leadership remained steady even as the challenges grew more complex. His ability to maintain Jedi principles while making difficult decisions earned him respect, though not always agreement, from his peers and subordinates. As the war continued to escalate, these experiences would prove valuable in preparing him for even greater challenges ahead. As the Clone Wars entered their final phase, shadows began to lengthen across the galaxy. For Mace Windu, this period would bring revelations that shook the very foundations of his understanding, beginning with the campaign on Anaxes, a critical Republic stronghold that had come under attack by Admiral Trench's forces. Leading the 187th Battalion alongside Anakin Skywalker's 501st Legion, Windu found himself facing an extraordinary situation. Despite weeks of fierce combat, the Separatists had gained the upper hand, even overrunning their main production facility. When Captain Rex and Commander Cody approached with a theory about the enemy's uncanny ability to predict their strategies, Windu authorized them to investigate behind enemy lines. During the battle, Windu demonstrated why he had become legendary among both Jedi and clones. Confronting an army of battle droids, he offered them a chance at peaceful surrender, stating, "My name is General Mace Windu of the Jedi Order. At this point of the Clone War, I have dismantled and destroyed over 100,000 of U-Type 1 battle droids." When the droids refused his offer of reprogramming for a better purpose, Windu proved his reputation well-earned. The mission to Bardotta revealed a different kind of darkness. Accompanying Representative Jar Jar Binks, Windu discovered that the Bardottan Queen Julia and several Dagoyan masters had vanished. Despite the Bardottans' historic mistrust of Jedi, Windu persisted in his investigation, eventually uncovering the involvement of the Frangal cult. This mission led Windu to a confrontation with Mother Talzin of the Night Sisters on Zardossa Styx. When she claimed her powers surpassed his abilities, Windu remained steadfast, declaring, "Magic is only an illusion." The ensuing battle proved his mastery of both combat and the Force, as he successfully prevented Talzin from absorbing powerful ancient energies that could have shifted the balance of the war. But perhaps the most troubling discovery came when investigating the death of Jedi Master Sifo Dyas. The Council learned a shocking truth. Their clone army had been created by their enemies. The Council chose to keep this revelation secret, even from Chancellor Palpatine. This decision marked a significant shift in Windu's relationship with the Republic's leadership, as his suspicions about the growing darkness around the Chancellor intensified. Working alongside Clone Force 99, known as the Bad Batch, Windu witnessed both the potential and the complexity of the clone army. During the Battle of Anaxes, he coordinated with these unique soldiers, whose genetic mutations gave them extraordinary abilities. Their success in protecting the assembly complex showcased the special relationship between Jedi and clones, even as questions about the army's origins lingered. These final campaigns brought Windu into increasingly dangerous situations. Yet even as military victory seemed within reach, his unease about the future grew stronger. The Council's decision to place Anakin Skywalker on the Council while tasking him to spy on the Chancellor troubled Windu deeply. He warned his fellow Council members that pairing Skywalker with Palpatine was dangerous, though few understood just how prophetic this warning would prove. As the war progressed, Windu found himself questioning traditions he had long defended. The Council's tactics, once unthinkable, now seemed necessary in the face of growing darkness. When they discussed removing the Chancellor from power, Windu advocated for Jedi control of the Senate to ensure a peaceful transition, a position that marked how far the war had pushed even the Order's strictest traditionalist. The final days of the war saw Windu increasingly focused on the darkness he sensed gathering around the Republic. His military duties continued, but his attention turned more and more to the political maneuvering on Coruscant. The Chancellor's growing power concerned him, especially as Palpatine showed no signs of relinquishing his emergency authorities despite General Grievous's death. In what would prove to be his final military briefing, Windu spoke with Ahsoka Tano about the capture of Maul on Mandalore. When Tano questioned his cryptic remarks about the war's end depending on the Chancellor, Windu declined to elaborate, stating it was Council business. This moment captured the weight of secrets and suspicions he carried, even as events rushed toward their devastating conclusion. Throughout these final campaigns, Windu remained a beacon of Jedi strength and principle, even as darkness gathered. His leadership inspired troops across countless battlefields, while his wisdom helped guide the Council through increasingly troubled times. Yet for all his power and perception, even he could not fully grasp the true nature of the shadow about to engulf the galaxy. In the final days of the Clone Wars, as the galaxy teetered on the edge of transformation, Mace Windu stood at the center of events that would reshape the course of history. The moment of truth arrived when Anakin Skywalker revealed a discovery that confirmed Windu's darkest suspicions. Chancellor Palpatine was Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord who had orchestrated the entire war. For Windu, this revelation brought clarity to years of growing darkness. The plot to destroy the Jedi that he had sensed now stood, revealed in all its horrifying complexity. With the future of the Order hanging in the balance, Windu assembled a team of 4 Jedi Masters: Kit Fisto, Saisi Tiin, Agen Kolar, and himself. Their mission was clear: arrest the Chancellor and end the Sith influence over the Republic. What followed would become one of the most legendary confrontations in galactic history. Entering the Chancellor's office, Windu declared their intention to take Palpatine into custody. The mask of the kindly Chancellor fell away, replaced by the true face of Darth Sidious. In a display of seismic power, Sidious struck down 3 of the Jedi Masters with frightening ease, leaving only Windu to stand against the full might of the dark side. The duel that followed pushed both warriors to their absolute limits. Windu's mastery of Vapad, the fighting style he had created to channel darkness into light, found its ultimate test against the very embodiment of the dark side. Through skill, determination, and mastery of the Force, Windu achieved what no other Jedi had managed. He defeated Darth Sidious in direct combat. With the Sith Lord disarmed and at his mercy, Windu faced the most crucial decision of his life. The Chancellor's influence over the Senate and courts made him too dangerous to be left alive. But as Windu raised his blade to deliver justice, Anakin Skywalker arrived, torn between his loyalty to the Jedi and his belief that Palpatine could save his secret wife. Skywalker made a choice that would punish the galaxy to decades of darkness. He severed Windu's hand, allowing Sidious to strike the great Jedi champion with Force lightning, sending him to his death. The aftermath proved swift and devastating. Palpatine used Windu's attempt to arrest him as justification to brand the entire Jedi Order as traitors. Order 66 was executed, and the clone troopers Windu had led in countless battles turned their weapons against their Jedi commanders. The Republic he had served transformed into the Galactic Empire, with Palpatine as its emperor and Skywalker, now Darth Vader, as his apprentice. In the dark years that followed, the Empire worked to tarnish Windu's legacy. Imperial propaganda portrayed him as the leader of a criminal gang of Jedi who caused the Clone Wars. Yet they could not erase all memory of his heroism. On Ryloth, where he had fought to liberate the Twi'lek people, they still sang songs of the Hammer of Ryloth, keeping alive the memory of his courage and leadership. Years later, Luke Skywalker, seeking to rebuild the Jedi Order, would study Windu's legacy. He recognized in Windu a true defender of Jedi principles, one whose suspicion of political power proved well-founded. Skywalker noted that had his father not intervened, Windu might have succeeded in preventing the Empire's rise, changing the course of galactic history. Windu's influence would echo through generations. During the Battle of Exegol, when Rey faced the returned Palpatine, Windu's voice joined those of legendary Jedi, lending her strength through the Force. Even in death, he continued to stand against the darkness he had fought in life. The story of Mace Windu serves as both inspiration and warning. His mastery of the Force, his creation of Vapad, his unwavering dedication to justice all speak to the heights a Jedi can achieve. Yet his fall also reminds us how even the greatest champions can be undone by the complexities of duty, power, and trust. In the end, Mace Windu embodied the best qualities of the Jedi Order he served: strength tempered by wisdom, power guided by principle, and an unwavering commitment to justice. Though he could not prevent the dark times that followed, his legacy endures as a testament to what it truly means to be a Jedi. As long as those who seek the light look to the stars, they will find inspiration in the story of the warrior who dared to stand against the darkness, even at the cost of everything he held dear. Perhaps that stands as Mace Windu's greatest victory, not the battles he won, the armies he led, or even his nearly successful confrontation with Darth Sidious, but the echo of his principles that continues to resonate through time. In facing the ultimate darkness, he remained true to the light until the very end, leaving future generations a blueprint for courage, integrity, and unwavering dedication to justice in the face of overwhelming odds.